All right, Shalom. This is Khanaksa An Ban Yashar Allah of the Lions in the Yashar Allah camp. First and foremost, I'd like to say Kahalayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harakakodash Mama. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Akim that are pushing this truth to sincerity and truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, just coming with a quick, brief lesson. Um, uh, Dealing with the Putin. This article that I saw earlier today, well yesterday because it's after midnight, about Putin signing a law suspending INF treaty with the U.S. All right, which is a big major. It was talked about Trump suspending the treaty some months ago, but now Russia and Vladimir Putin is pushing the envelope. All right, so that's that's a good push in the direction that we need to go. Like freaking ads and stuff. Good push in the direction that we need to go as far as us getting us out of here, man. So I just want to read this article a little bit, get a scripture or two dealing with that. Um and Lord willing be edifying and serve his purpose. Help wake up the elect and, uh show forth these prophecies that are coming through in the name of Yahweh by Shem Shai. All right. It says Putin signs law suspending INF treaty with U.S. And there's another article that I'm going to go into after I do this one, dealing with Iran, conflict between Iran and the United States. All right, so all this stuff is piling up, and everybody's turning to hate the whore, which is America. All right. It says Putin signs law suspending INF treaty with U.S. U.S. Air Force ground crew secure weapons on other components of an MQ-9 Reaper drone after it returned from a mission at Kandahar airfield, Afghanistan, March 9, 2016. All right, it says Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law suspending the Cold War era. All right, so basically, the Cold War never died. They tried to say they ended the Cold War with this INF treaty, which the INF treaty is an intermediate range nuclear force treaty. It says the intermediate range nuclear force treaty was an armed control treaty between the United States and the Soviet Union. U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet Union Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev signed the treaty on December 8th, 1987. All right. So those intermediate range nuclear missiles, they were banned with this treaty not to be used because those missiles could be used at any time, and it didn't take much for them to be shot off, and they can go short range or long range if I'm not mistaken. All right. Let me see. Okay, so the United States approved the treaty on 27th of May, and Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev ratified it on June 1st, 1988. It said the INF treaty banned all of the two nations' land-based ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and missiles launched with ranges of 500 to 1,000 kilometers. All right, which is 310 to 620 miles. It says short, medium range, and 1,000 to 5,500 kilometers, which is 620 to 3,042 miles. All right. It says the treaty did not apply to air or sea launched missiles. By May 1991, the nations had eliminated 2,692 missiles, followed by 10 years of on-site verification inspections. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on 20th of October that he was withdrawing the U.S. from the treaty, accusing Russia of non-compliance. The U.S. formally suspended the treaty on February 1st, 2019, and Russia did so on the following day in response to the withdrawal. All right. So So it says, so back to the article. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law suspending the Cold War era INF treaty. Putin announced in February that he would halt um, participation in the treaty after Washington's abrupt decision to pull out of the agreement. The Trump administration announced last October that the U.S. would pull out of the treaty, which had been a cornerstone of the European security since the signing in 1987. Moscow later promised a mirror response to the decision and said it would suspend its own participation. The treaty eliminated nuclear and conventional ground-launched ballistic and cruise missiles with a range of 500 to 5,000 kilometers. Both sides have repeatedly accused each other for violating its terms. Abandoning the deal, Trump said the U.S. would terminate the agreement and then develop the weapons. Putin later said Russia would be forced to do the same thing. All right. So Trump floated the idea of signing a new nuclear agreement with Russia after an hour-long phone call with Putin in May. The White House said at the time that a new deal could either be a new multilateral accord between the U.S., Russia, and China, or the extension of the current U.S.-Russia strategic nuclear accord. Washington and Moscow are working to organize a meeting between Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Royabakov and U.S. Secretary of State Andrea Thompson to discuss issues of strategic security, according to the reports from Russian media. It says arms control was a top concern when Trump and Putin met last week at the G20 summit in Japan, where the two leaders promised to continue dialogue on strategic stability. So they were talking about ways to keep this treaty going or maybe sign another agreement, right? But as it stands right now, Russia's like, nah, forget it. So that treaty is fully suspended. There's not going to be any reconciliation on it or anything like that. So Russia's like it is what it is. They're tired of dealing with the with the bullshit coming from the United States, man. And that's just it. And these are signs that we need to see. Um, you know, Russia rising up against America, and ultimately Iran rising up against Israel. All right, so I'm gonna get the scripture to close it out real quick. It says, this is Isaiah chapter 13, um, verse 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, it shall never be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabians pitch their tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their folds there." So all the grinding is going to cease in America. These Arabians are not going to have these shops and these stores in America. America is going to be totally destroyed, never inhabited again. And you see Russia right now setting themselves up to bend the bow and attack America. With that being said, like say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKakwadash, by Mom, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.